You know, I remember how the radio was at old jobs. So soulless and formulaic and just like exhausting. I remember often thinking that it sounded like stock music. And so it felt really absurd to me that people liked it or listened to it at all. If your live's a soundtrack by stock music, then what are you? A product? Livestock? It's fucked up to think about, you know. And like it made me lose faith in humanity because you see everyone buying into it as drones. Some radio stations actually play good shit. They just never put those on in a workplace, I swear. Really, it's probably not that deep. But when you're subject to these stations for 40 hours a week, it is that deep, you get me? The worst of them all was Gem. Oh my fucking god, I hated Gem. It was so fucking bad. It was the only station that would play at this one place I worked at. And it was like a looped playlist that played the same songs. You would be subject to the same shit songs that made you want to kill yourself at least 3 times a day. I think I'm really spilling my trauma here, to be honest. But this shit gets to you way more than you would expect. Music is used as a torture method. There's a whole Wikipedia page about it. The US used Enter Sandman to torment Iraqi POWs. I don't think my old workplace were trying to inflict harm on the workers or anything. I think they were torturing us out of carelessness, out of pure retardation and lack of concern. It wasn't just me either. Practically everyone there was crazy and fucking despised the radio. But beyond this, it's not even just the repetition. The songs are shit anyway. Again, so soulless and corporate and lacking in any personality or humanity. Maybe I'm just nostalgia biased, but I swear growing up, the music that played on the radio had a lot more personality and shit. And no, I'm not biased actually, because when I revisit that shit, I can see the personality in it. Look at Calvin Harris, or like Dizzy's Poppy stuff, Katie B, Lily Allen, LaRue, the list goes on. So it got me thinking, where did this stock music infestation actually begin? See, I think you can trace it all the way back to the Joshua Tree by U2. I'm not even a U2 hater. War, that's a fucking banging album. But the Joshua Tree, if you listen to the guitar on this album, it is just exactly like stock music that came in the 21st century. The Joshua Tree, it's not even a bad album, but I can't really listen to it. It birthed stock music, and so it should burn really. But then after this album, and throughout the 90s and 2000s, there wasn't really a stock epidemic. You can point to certain types of music that would play on the radio being generic, cheesy, just straight up shit, but it didn't feel fake at least. It didn't feel like royalty-free background music for adverts about pet care or some shit like that. It was really in the 2010s that started to happen. I'm about to give people a throwback. Will Young. We all remember Will Young, right? He came to fame through winning the show Pop Idol, and then went on to have a fruitful career in the music industry. As far as I know anyway. I'm no Will Young expert. One song he's very known for is the song Jealousy. This used to play everywhere in the early 2010s. You've probably completely forgotten about it, but if you go and give it a listen, you'll probably remember it. Now you see, returning to this song, and rather the whole album he released at the time, Echoes, it is stock music through and through, but Will Young has personality. There's actual meaning in the lyrics to engage with beyond total radio slop. And if you look at reviews for it at the time, it was quite praised. You listen now and it's repulsive. It's impossible to listen to because this music was appropriated to become royalty-free stock music. There's a reason when radio stations put on throwbacks, it's never shit like this from this era. It's always like Outkast, Miss Jackson. It Wasn't Me by Shaggy. It's because it's become too obvious to everyone. I think the fucked up thing is that this Will Young stuff right here, it has way more soul in it, but unfortunately has been rendered to sound incredibly soulless. The instrumentals on this stuff, they just activate the chip in my brain that makes me want to destroy everything around me and escape the Matrix. Some other examples I can throw out too, and this is an interesting one actually. Do we remember the song Starry Eyed by Ellie Goulding? See, the way I remembered this song was like it was really exciting. It used to be such a banger when I was a kid. And now listening to it again, it sounds entirely like stock music. It sounds like something you would buy on Fiverr. And the rest of the album is very much the same, maybe a couple exceptions. You can see like cool ideas on this album is the thing. This album was probably awesome, but it has been ruined once again by the appropriation of this music for workplace training video background music. I mean, to be fair, I don't really like the way Ellie sings anyway, so maybe I wouldn't like it still. but the point still stands. And then another one, Selena Gomez Revival. I am entirely of the opinion this would be a good album if it wasn't for the fact it sounds like total stock slop. I mean, it's egregious. These albums, they have these kinds of instrumentals where you'll hear like one heavily overproduced piano key being pressed at once, and then the sound lingers until the next one is pressed, you get me? Hopefully you know what I'm on about. Hopefully I don't sound fucking schizo. Guitar always functions in that really inoffensive ga-dung kind of way. And just like the most boiled down light electronics as well. I think really it's this era of 2010 to 2015. And don't get me wrong, other types of music was on the radio, and some of it was good and didn't deal with these problems. But the stuff that did have these problems, I feel like it's completely abandoned really. They were unfortunate enough to make music that aged like milk, and all of the good elements of that music are lost. Now we have a more tempered stock music on the radio, which doesn't sound exactly like stock music really, but is just very formulaic and completely soulless. Funnily enough though, I think this 2010 to 2015 era of stock infestation, even despite its good elements, it's harder to listen to than what's on the radio now, just because of how egregious it is. I think when people started to lose interest in that style because it started to sound schlocky and overly corporate, the music industry, they had to find a new way to try to slopify music and try boil down people's tastes into one easy formula that the most people possible will buy into. And the product was what we hear on the radio today. I'm very glad that I'm not working somewhere that I'm subjected to the radio anymore. And Gem has actually died. It's gone. That's a cause for celebration. But yeah, that's about it. Subscribe to The Catman Show. Leave a like. Leave a comment. Goodbye.